Our very top focus this hour, the Chandrayaan-3 mission. As per the Indian Space Research Organization, all activities of our third lunar mission are on schedule and all systems are normal. The Pragyan rover's mobility operations have commenced and India has taken a walk on the moon, leaving imprints of the national emblem on the lunar surface. Meanwhile, ISRO has released a video showcasing the crucial moments before the Vikram lander's touchdown near the lunar South Pole, a feat which has only been accomplished by India so far. In the video, the lander imager camera has captured the moon's image just prior to touchdown. I'd like my PCR crew upstairs to route my screen and showcase it to our viewers. Yes, there it is. As you can see, this is a video released by the Indian Space Research Organization. It shows the moon as viewed by the lander imager camera during the lander module's powered descent on August 23rd. I'll take you through the entire 2 minutes 17 seconds video. Of course, at the left side of the screen, viewers, you can see this is our Vikram lander of the Chandrayaan-3, which touched down successfully a few days back on August 23rd. Right here is the moon. Remember, viewers, this feat has never been accomplished before. India is the first country for landing successfully at the south pole of the moon. Remember, viewers, a south pole of the moon is a little explored region. It is a region which has piqued a lot of scientific curiosity amidst the community as well as other people. Temperatures dip as far low as -250 degrees Celsius, and this area is marked by rugged terrain. You can see right here there are craters on the lunar surface. Right here on the screen, viewers, you can see that my cursor is pointing towards these craters. You can see this video was taken during the powered descent. I'd like to go a few frames back. So these craters which are here, you can of course see them, and the lander imager camera zooming into them. And then after this, as I'll take you frame by frame through this video, these craters keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we move closer to the moon's surface. Meanwhile, viewers, you can see at the left side of the screen lies the Vikram lander, and these of course mark the final few crucial moments of the moon landing by our Vikram rover. I'd like my PCR crew to show my screen once again and keep the focus on that. Yes. So here you can see our Chandrayaan-3's Vikram lander, and this is of course the moon's undulated surface marked by a ton of craters. ISRO had earlier of course released images before the landing showing marking out certain important craters, including Belkovich as well as Belkovich as well as the Hain crater, and also a lunar mare. Remember, viewers, lunar mares are like a plain area on the moon. ISRO had in fact used this camera to identify the spot where the Vikram lander would descend and land. So here you see it, these craters keep getting bigger, they keep getting bigger as the Vikram lander approaches the moon's surface. You can see the undulated surface. Of course, moon's south pole is a little explored region, and the scientific community is of course very curious about exploring this region. Remember, viewers, our Chandrayaan-3's Pragyan rover has taken a walk on the moon. This rover has certain payloads, and the Vikram lander also has certain payloads. These will conduct in situ experiments on the lunar surface. Viewers, also I'd like to remind you that the imprints of our national emblem have also been left on the moon's surface by our Pragyan rover. I'd like to showcase the last few seconds of the moon landing. So right here you can see that the power descent is taking place at a greater speed, and if I fast forward over here, it stabilizes a little more. It's the final few seconds right now that you can see where our lander or Vikram lander is stabilizing before the touchdown moments This, of course, is a moment celebrated by 1.4 billion Indians. Right here, the moon landing on your screens, viewers. This is the very moment where the moon landed. I'd like to show you once again, final few seconds. All right, with that, I'd like to rope into this discussion and welcome on the broadcast Group Captain V.N. Jha, former Joint Director of the DRDO. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us on the broadcast on NewsX. I'd like to know, what was your very first reaction when you saw this video? I certainly had tears in my eyes. It was a very proud moment, even when the landing took place and even now. What was your first reaction to this video?
Yes, you must be very, very emotional person. That is why you had the joy of, tear of joy in your eyes at that time. But many of the eyes at that time, when the lander was passing through and coming closer to the surface of the moon, must be having the dream-like condition in their eyes. Of course, when all these were happening, we were mostly looking at the scope of the radar that ISRO had, and also we were looking at the lateral image, synthetic image that was there, onto which we saw the entire lander coming down there on the slope. Look what happens whenever you see something which has never been seen. You always have that joy, you always have the pride of seeing the first time. Moon surface, lunar surface has never been seen in a motion camera, in a video from such close quarter. Remember, if this be the moon, on this moon, in the last few days, our lander 3 had been given an orbit of closest of 25 kilometers and the furthest of 134 kilometers. That was slightly elliptical orbit in which it was going through. So every time that it made a pass from a close quarters of about 25 kilometers, obviously from 25 kilometers, you can see much more of the clarity than usually what our orbiter 2, which has been in the orbit of the moon since 2019, from 100 kilometers. So what we have been seeing, or the ISRO must be seeing the video of orbiter taking the photograph or the video from 100 kilometers, when this Chandrayaan 3 was making a pass at 25 kilometers. It must have been a very, very clear picture. And now going further, when it was coming for landing, when the hard braking had happened onto the Chandrayaan 3, when it came to the close pass of that hard braking and then coming for landing onto the spot, it started coming down further. When the orbit was there of that 134 into 25 kilometers, the velocity of the Chandrayaan would have been in the vicinity of about 1.68 kilometers per second. That is the velocity at which centrifugal force of the yaan will be equal to the centripetal force to give an equilibrium of being in the zero G gravity of the moon, and then continuing with the orbit. We call it usually the stable orbit. So it must have been the stable orbit. From there, when it started hard braking and coming down closer to the surface of the moon, the camera, which has taken the photograph from initially from 25 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 15, 10, 5 kilometers, 2 kilometers, and then when it came to the almost the static vertical, we have seen the entire thing in the synthetic picture. What we had seen on the picture of those last few seconds of the landing was a synthetic picture, except ISRO would have seen the lander taking the photographs of right underneath it, how the terrain looked to be there. That would have been seen by the ISRO, and based on to which the lander would have made a decision where exactly to land, where exactly is the plane surface that it has to land. So that must be very, very emotional. I don't, I'm not surprised that you had tear of joy in your eye. But I was looking at the entire thing as a, scientific marvel of the today's world, today's India, today's ISRO, the technological marvel of ISRO that at that high speed, when the video was being taken, it was being beamed or it was being received by ISRO through the communication network at that rate of the resolution, at that rate of the so many Mbps, you can call it, of the video that was there. So it was a really good sort of technological marvel that we have seen. Chandrayaan has made many of such things. Few have come to the public domain. There must be many other things which has not yet come to the public domain. It will gradually keep on coming in the coming period. Pia.
Yes, sir. I also mentioned that the Pragyan rover's operations have commenced earlier. Of course, we've had a lot of discussions on, what sort of scientific discoveries are you looking forward to? But now that the payloads have also commenced operations and India's national emblem has been left on the moon's surface, how do you feel about all of this?
Well, Chandrayaan had gone there for two reasons, two purposes. The first and the foremost aim was to make a soft landing on the polar region, what has been eluding the entire world over the period, since the time they have tried to go on the moon. Making a landing in and around the equator is much easier, I must tell you. Should this be the moon? Should this be the North Pole, South Pole, and the equator? In and around equator, when you go from the Earth onto the moon, and you are on the in and around the equator, you have got much more visibility in and around where to land. In and around this area, in the equatorial area of the moon, things are by and large, flat, though. Craters and the caves and the ridges, those will be there in the impacts of the comets or any other extra lunar impacts on those areas, or the craters of those many. It's full of the crater, whether it is the volcanoes or the impacts by the extra lunar bodies. So those are there, but all the same, they are much more dust now settled there. The equatorial area is by and large now flat, barring few crevices here and there. So it's easier landing in and around the equatorial plate. But then earlier, USA has gone, China has gone, Russia, USSR had gone. So in and around the regolith in the equatorial region, it is known what it is made of. The stone underneath, the original surface underneath has been studied. So when India is going there in the polar region for two main objectives. The science, we believe that you should continue adding on to what you have already achieved, or you go there with altogether a new vision. Now, Chandrayaan 1 had seen the water in the polar region. So that is how Chandrayaan 2 went there in the polar region to make a landing, and then to study whether the water is actually there. If the water is there, it is in what form? In the night time, at -235, it is all in the crystal form, all in the solid form ice. But in the daytime, when those crystals melt, because you should also remember that in the daytime, lunar surface temperature goes to about 125 odd degrees Celsius. At that, the water will start boiling. But that measured temperature will be mostly in the area of the equatorial plate, in that direction. So with all those things happening, we can be very sure that the temperature in and around this area will be something what everyone will be hoping, that it doesn't melt away the water. So there we stand. So we compliment ISRO that they have made a conscious decision to go in the polar region. There it will be the new inventions. There it will be the new findings that we will have. Even the mapping of the surface, thermological mapping of the surface of the moon will be giving us a much more new things that we are looking at. So altogether, entire scientific data that we foresee to obtain from the lunar surface will be almost a new data of a new region of the moon, telling us a newer story.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.